Hi, mighty companions. Thanks for joining me for another weekly Wednesday wisdom video. Once again, I'm recording. I wasn't able to come live because I am still traveling. I am still in Florida, and today I decided to do something completely spontaneous and visit a place that I've never been to before called the Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp in Cassadaga, Florida, about an hour north of Orlando. And it's so interesting. I thought I would just share it with you in our Miracles Attraction community because you might want to come here and visit sometime too. So I've never been to Sedona, but I imagine that Sedona is something like this. I saw a t-shirt in a gift shop here that said that this is where Mayberry meets the Twilight Zone, and it certainly seems to be true. And I want to tell you a little bit about the history of this community, and then I'll give you a little tour. So the Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp was founded in 1894. It's been here for 120 years. And it was founded by a fellow named George Colby, who was raised as a Baptist in New York. And then his family moved to Minnesota when he was a young boy. They were farmers, and they baptized him in the middle of winter. And it was freezing cold, as you might imagine, and they had to cut a hole in the ice in order to submerge him in the water for his baptism. And during this baptism at age 12, he had a spiritual experience where he saw and heard from his deceased uncle, who told him, "You will create a spiritual community in the southern part of the United States." Well, shortly after this, George began to hear voices and see spirits and receive messages from beyond, from his not only his own spirit guides, but deceased relatives and deceased relatives of friends and family, and channel spirits. As you can imagine, his Baptist parents did not approve of this at all, and at a certain point he stopped attending Baptist church, and the pastor came around to try and convince him to come back, but he never went back. And he began work traveling around the country as a medium, giving readings for people, and people would pay him with love offerings. He never made much money doing this. In fact, at one point, he got very sick from the cold because he didn't have warm clothes, and he had to take some other kind of work just to make enough money to buy proper clothing before he could go back to doing mediumship readings for people. But eventually he made his way down south along with a partner, another couple who were also both mediums, and they were told to buy this land here in Cassadaga by spirit guides. George Colby had many guides, but one in particular was a Native American Indian guide named Seneca. And Seneca told him to come and acquire this land before others purchased it, because there were other people who were also interested in buying the same parcel of land. So they bought the land and they set up camp here, living in tents initially, and then eventually built modest homes and buildings in which to meet and to do their readings. They had spiritualist church services on Sunday mornings. They give workshops and tours and sell gifts, and so that's what's going on here now. But in the beginning, people would come for dances on Saturday night and church services on Sunday morning, and this community thrived. People moved here from other parts of the United States and built homes here. And there was a lot of growth and construction in the 1920s when people came and built homes that looked like the style of home from whatever state they had come from. So if they came from New England, they would build New England style homes. If they came from out west, they would build homes in the look of that state where they had originated. And so the architecture here is extremely interesting and diverse and different from the rest of Florida. So now I'm going to turn my camera around, and I just want to show you what it looks like here. I'll show you a picture of George Colby, the founder of this community. And this is the entrance when you first drive in. It's not a big town at all. And this building that I'm standing in front of is the bookstore and gift shop. And you can come in here and make an appointment to see a medium, to have a healing, or to have a reading. They do walk-in appointments, and there is a long list of potential mediums that you can work with and schedule appointments with. And then across the street, there is the Hotel Cassadaga, where you can stay, and they have a cafe where you can eat. And this was also built in the 1920s. And here you can have a look at the neighborhood. There are 7 parks in this community. They have guided walking tours. And the Hotel Cassadaga is supposedly haunted. Across the street here, you can see the Haunted History Museum. And all of the psychics and mediums that live in the community have modest homes. This is one of the parks at the end of the street. Beautiful day with lovely weather for our tour of Cassadaga. And here you can see some of the activities. And all the way at the end of this street, this building with the flag flying in front of is the George Colby Memorial building, where church services are held on Sunday morning and hands-on healing services afterwards. So it's a gorgeous with Spanish moss. And I've really enjoyed my visit here. That's pretty much what I have to share with you this week. It's not really related to A Course in Miracles, but when I went into the bookstore here, I did find an entire shelf of books related to A Course in Miracles, including copies of the workbook and the text, as well as a lot of other works by metaphysical authors and on different spiritual topics. They had the it's escaped me now. That's what I have to share. I hope it was interesting to you. I will be in Mexico next week, and I will have another recorded video for you while I'm in Mexico, and then I'll be back live the following week. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I love you. Bye-bye.